To Keenan Cole too. Oh, excuse me.
Welcome to Jets Rewind. This is Marty Shupak. I'm in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by Ralph Sharega. He is in Belmont, Mass. And we will soon be joined by Ray Clifford, who's running a few minutes late. He's out in Ohio. He might be out in the spring game of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Ralph.
Yeah, Ray is dotting the I on the Ohio script yeah. Ohio.
But anyway, we'll do a few things till Ray gets in here. Then we're going to have your classic trivia. Just a little bit of house cleaning. Today was another OTA, and I'll just read. We usually follow Connor Hughes, Brian Costello, or Rich Cimini. And some reports today, Mekhi Becton is working on the far field, did some light footwork. Wilson intercepted on a pass that went in and out of the hands of Chris Herndon. Then he put a sound familiar with a question mark. And later, Herndon converted on a 3rd and 10. Okay day by Zach Wilson on seven drills. Am I reading this right? He was 7 for 11 with interception.
On 7 for 7. No, that's on the 11 by 11 drills.
11 drills. He was 7 for 11 interception.
A lot of 7s and 11s here. We should go to Vegas.
Yeah. 2 straight incompletes resulted in a punt. A big day by Braxton Barrios, who we'll talk about, who always seems to be open. Sam Ficken had 2 bad misses, which is a shock. Chris Herndon dropped a pass.
Is there such a thing as a good miss, Marty?
There's no good miss. There really isn't. And then he put Zach Wilson didn't have his best day, wasn't his worst day. In 7-on-7s, he was 8 for 11. A little spot.
I got 11 for 14 on Daryl Slater's chart for that.
Oh, a little spotty on 11s. He was 7 for 11. 4 top receivers weren't on the field. With that, Ralph, do you want to add anything to it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I find it interesting. He's 7 for 11 on 11 by 11, 11 against 11, and 11 for 14. You know, I mean, they're setting the bar pretty high for this guy if they say that's sort of an in and out day. He had a few bad passes, but, you know, like I've been surfing around about the other rookie quarterbacks, and I don't see any kind of numbers like this on any of them when I read about them.
Well, he's definitely he's playing great. Again, we want to emphasize he's doing it in shorts.
He is doing it in shorts, but if he was playing like crap, Marty, Jet fans would be like on the ledge. You know, we'd have to talk him off.
Right. No, listen, Ralph, I'm very, very positive going in. To me, I haven't felt this way. Look, I felt this way when Sam was there, but it lacked a foundation. Now with Joe Douglas, more than Robert Saleh, I love the foundation. And look, let's say worst case scenario, Ralph, if he turns out to be a bust, at least we do have that solid foundation. We're building up something for the long term. And I don't believe he's a bust. You've seen more film than me, but I got to tell you, the film I've seen, his fast, quick release is really unbelievable.
He's not going to be a bust. He's too much of a hard worker, and he's too much talent. I mean, he's just, and you know, you can see he's already comfortable. Like I said, I've been reading about other guys. Trevor Lawrence is really struggling. Well, you want to talk about that later, or?
Well, give us a little bit of a report. And
yeah, I mean, like a few days ago when the reporters were there, he was through like 2 pick sixes and 3 passes, and he was really struggling. And they pulled him, and they said he had a slight hamstring pull. But to me, it sounded like they just wanted to get him off the field and get his head straight. I think it's a very awkward situation of all the rookie quarterbacks, because he's having his rookie growing pains, but there's so much pressure on him. And you got Gardner Minshew sitting there, who really could be a starter for several teams in this league. And, you know, he's not the type of quarterback who's going to be a mentor. You know, he wants to play.
Could I interrupt you for a second? Don't they have Beathard that they signed? Isn't he?
They might have him too. I mean, I'm waiting for them to move Minshew. He just doesn't fit there. It's not a good fit at all.
Do you see them moving him if Lawrence continues to struggle?
I
Or
do. Yeah, because I think they have to play Lawrence. I mean, that's the problem. You see, he's been built up so much. There's so much pressure on him that there'd probably be a quarterback controversy because a lot of people. Minshew is very popular.
right.
Apparently, he's
I
very
know.
popular with young people. I know some young 20s people in their mid-20s who said that he and his friends all are crazy about him. He's a character. He's pretty good. I mean, I think his numbers. He merits being a starter on some team.
Right. I know that. But so you couldn't see him being happy if he's a backup for.
I don't think he would be.
Okay. All right. Because we went over this last week for Zach Wilson. And the one thing, Ralph, that you brought up a couple of weeks ago, which I really like, and I thought about, Joe Douglas is incredibly patient. He doesn't really jump the gun, and he's not impulsive, and he thinks things out, and it's got to work in the long run.
Just
Now,
like Tannenbaum and McCagnon, right?
no, not at all. Yeah, and Zack, right? Zack.
Idzik wasn't here long enough, but
Yeah. But, I can't help when I hear people say that his job is dependent on Zach Wilson's success. I don't believe that. Do you? Do you buy that?
Well, I think Zach Wilson's success is going to be a reflection of how he, builds the team and the coaching staff around him. So sort of yes and no. But I think you gotta, general managers, they make a zillion decisions and they don't make it, they're not all right. Every general manager makes bad decisions, but you got to judge them by their overarching philosophy. And his philosophy is you build from inside out. I mean, Marty, we've been following football for 50 years. A lot of things change, but one thing that doesn't change is if you control the line of scrimmage, you're going to win most games. And Douglas is the first GM for the Jets to feel that way in a long time, since they've drafted Ferguson and Mangold in the first round. So I think he's going to build the team the right way. And and as a result, everything will come together. But no, they always say that with GMs when they pick their quarterback. But like I said, the quarterback is just part of the equation. It's
it's funny, and you emphasized it a few weeks ago, which I find a little not bothersome, maybe a little strange, maybe strange is the word. When he said that, like if Sam Darnold was on his second year, he'd probably keep him because of the contract.
Well, it's fun. Yeah, it's funny you should say that. You remember a few weeks ago, Cimini, and he wrote a great article, which I don't say that often, but he was talking about how Joe Douglas, the evolution of his first hearing about Zach Wilson and all of the vetting he went through and all of the thought process and watching him. And it was a great article. He did the same thing on McCagnon with Darnold, which was another very good article. I love reading those type of articles. You really get an inside view of how this stuff happens. And a couple of takeaways I had from that. One of them was that he wasn't so much down on Darnold. He just felt that Wilson, he couldn't pass up. He was just so blown away by Wilson. So yeah, I think he might have. The second takeaway I had is I really think he kind of liked Wilson better than Lawrence. But if he'd had the first pick, I'm thinking that would have been a really tough call for him to pull the trigger. So I think in a way, fate, dealt him a really nice hand. He got the second pick and he didn't have any of the hassle. He just took that guy and nobody's going to second guess him. Except some people who want Justin Fields.
By the way, a little Rich Cimini trivia. He has a hidden loyalty to Mike McCagnon. You know why?
No.
Well, Rich.
They're both from New Jersey.
Well, yeah. No. Cimini's from your end of town. He's from Long Island.
Oh, that's right. He's a Long Islander. Yeah.
But anyway, Cimini teaches a sports journalism course in Syracuse. Second semester, like from January, I guess, till May.
Yeah.
And he had
that's why he doesn't know anything about their draft picks.
And he had asked McCagnon to come up, and he actually drove up and drove back on the same day. But apparently, he did a great job in front of the class and stayed afterwards. So it's going to be tough for Rich to write anything negative about Mike McCagden.
Well, he doesn't have to, as long as it doesn't affect his feelings for Joe Douglas. And,
Right. Ralph, what other thoughts do you have about this week's OTA?
well, I'll tell you, a name that has been popping up and I read all the reporters, the guys you mentioned. I read this guy Daryl Slater from the New Jersey Ledger, I believe. I read Connor Hughes. I read this guy Robbie Sabo, and
Robbie
the name that
Sabo's
keeps
very good.
yeah, I'm gonna give a quote later, Robbie Sabo. The name that keeps popping up is Isaiah Dunn. He sounds he sounds like a keeper, and the big question is because why wouldn't a guy like that not be drafted? Cornerbacks are so what is that all about?
No idea, Ralph. I can't figure that out. I don't understand that. And the other, his teammate from Oregon State. Why in the world weren't those two guys drafted? I don't understand that at all.
Speaking of another undrafted free agent, I haven't heard the name of Kenny Yeboah at all. Have you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Huh.
Yeah. Just
another.
He looked athletic like the first or second OTAs, but I haven't heard anything about him also. Yeah, you're right. That's a great point too.
Another thing one thing that's bothering. Oh, by the way, I was watching, I watched these little quick Twitter clips, and I saw Mekhi Becton standing on the other end of the field. He looked good, actually. He didn't look any heavier than he did last year at all.
He didn't look any heavier?
No, he looked from a distance, he looked pretty good. Well, the guy who worries me is Ashton Davis. What is going on with this guy? I mean,
I was going to mention that, and just for the Jet fans that don't know, he has been on the field because he's still rehabbing a foot injury. Ralph, what the heck is the foot injury that is rehabbing?
He had a foot injury when he ended college, and then he gets to the Jets, and he plays a little in another foot injury. I'm concerned about him. He seems like he might be fragile because I really have high hopes for the guy.
Yeah, so do I. I like him. I have him down to block a couple of punts this year.
He's our modern day Steve Tannen.
Right, and get like 2 sacks too. All right, Ralph, let's just move on to, you mentioned Robbie Sabo.
Yeah.
And how he has access to the OTAs. And he did there was some sort of comparison between Wilson and Darnold. Why don't we get into that?
Right. So his quote was, and he's seen Darnold play in OTAs and preseason, and he said everything about Zach Wilson compared to Sam Darnold is much quicker. His release, his feet, his decisions. Wilson just doesn't overthink like Darnold did. To me, I mean, all signs are positive. I'm not surprised. I'm all in on the guy, but I think people are beginning to see this that this guy is something special.
Yeah, Robbie Sabo knows the game, and out of the things you mentioned, it's this decision making. That's to me, that's the most important thing, without a doubt. And seeing the field is the key too. Decision making and seeing the field. Some of Darnold's interceptions were driving me crazy this past year. The first 2 years, for some reason, I could live with it. But this year, even though we had a atrocious coaching situation, some of those decisions was just like off the board.
I remember that first game against Indy when the first pass he threw in a quick out pass right into the hands of the defender who just walked into the end zone. It was like, what is he looking at? Yeah, speaking of Darnold, did you see he came out with a quote the other day about how he has reservations about the COVID vaccine? No,
I didn't see
that. Really shocked me. I mean, that does not sound like Sam Darnold, I mean, you can have reservations, but why are you talking about it, man? Just learn how to read defenses and forget about getting involved in politics.
Did he get the vaccine?
I don't know, but I mean, I just think that, the less football players get involved with that kind of stuff,
right,
the better, especially a guy like this who's really got to get his career together.
Yeah. Ralph, let's just go through the other quarterbacks. You mentioned Trevor Lawrence is having some trouble right now.
He is.
Yeah. What else have you heard about some of the other?
So Justin Fields, I've read, sort of lukewarm positive stuff about him. No numbers, but he is firmly ensconced as number 2. The Bears, say right now that Andy Dalton is going to be our starter at the beginning of the year. I think they want to slow play Fields, which is fine. If you can do it, do it, I say. Mac Jones is taking third team snaps. He's been in and out. You know, he's been, again, typical rookie struggling.
Right.
What's his name? Jarrett Stidham has actually been the star of the camp. Ironically,
I
the guy that everyone wants to get rid of.
I heard that. I heard
Yeah.
that.
And what's his name is hurt, and Cam Newton, which I think excites a lot of people because they don't want him to play. You know, apparently, Bill Belichick is the only person in New England who likes Cam Newton as a starting quarterback.
It's not possible that they're going to keep 4 quarterbacks, is it?
No. Well, I think everyone assumes Stidham was out the door, but he's kind of playing well. You know, the funny thing is when they drafted Brady his rookie year, they kept 4 quarterbacks.
I remember that.
Brady was the 4th.
Yeah, I remember that.
But Belichick said, he said, I know it was a wasted roster spot, but we just kind of felt he had some potential because he was no good his rookie year. I mean, if you watch the Brady 6, you see great clips of Belichick just getting in Brady's ear, you know, yelling at him when he was a rookie. It's really funny.
Just so you know, Ralph, speaking of backups, and we're concerned as Jet fans, but apparently today, White had his best day of the OTAs. He looked pretty sharp from what I heard.
Well, yeah, I mean that, which is fine, but I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for a guy has potential, maybe you look for that. But I think everyone's thinking we need a mentor, someone who's knows his place, wants to be a backup, and knows how to, you know, will be able to help Wilson in certain areas. I still have my money on Nick Mullins, but again, Joe Douglas is taking his time, which I think is great. He's giving these guys all a chance to get as many reps as they can so they can make decisions on these guys before they bring in, and I think they will bring someone in.
Ralph, I just want to take a moment to do a couple of shout outs. A shout out, a big Jet fan in Suffern, New York, Diane from Suffern, New York. I want to wish her well. I met her friend Emma at a place called Lids where I got my new Jet cap.
Jet fans are not going to be suffering anymore, by the way.
Yeah. So, Diane, hopefully you'll listen to more shows and get all your fellow Jet fans too. And Ralph, this is a special shout out to a real old time Jet fan, Bruce Reeder. I got a note from someone who apparently he's been under the weather for a while, and he's an unbelievable Jet fan who bleeds green. Bruce, I just want to wish you well. I know you are a big Jet fan, and get well soon. And I know you're going to be able to see the next time the Jets are in the Super Bowl. So a shout out to those 2 people. All right, Ralph.
I want to give one shout out, Marty, to the Islanders.
I was going to say,
living up here in Boston, it was very sweet of them to beat them. I enjoyed it very much.
What was the score? 6-2?
6-2. It was 2 open net goals. Actually, 4-2.
Okay. All right, 4-2. Okay. Anyway, all right, Ralph. You have a question about players that may or may not make the final roster. Why don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I can come up with a ton of them, but here's just a few. First one, a guy who's Blake Cashman. Now, you tell me whether you think he's going to make the roster and whether you want him to make the roster. You get two shots at it.
I don't think he's going to make the roster, and I don't think I want him to make the roster at this point.
He's hurt again, you know. It's ridiculous. He's got to go.
What did they say? What the injury is?
No, it's probably like hockey: upper body, lower body.
Well, Ralph, talking about that, and I don't want to give him a pass, and I know everyone's saying he should be fine. Has Denzel Mims practiced today?
He didn't practice today. He practiced on Tuesday, and I think the last 2 days he practiced. He was out. I don't know. I'm not going to make a judgment on him yet. I mean, he is out there at least.
Okay. All right. What other players? Go ahead next.
All right. Next one, Lamar Jackson.
You know, it's funny. Ray is big on him as far as a depth guy, and I'm not as big in him. And it's not just because of the Raider game, but I would say he's not on the final roster. And Do I want to make the final roster? I don't have an opinion on that. And Ralph, a lot of this is because the new regime. Well, he's part of the new regime too.
That's right. He is.
But
Yeah.
then again, we have a new coach.
Mhm.
So I think that he's going to yield to the coach, and it's going to be his decision. And I just want to add, I know I say this every week, but I think Javelin Guidry is going to be part of the secondary this year in some aspect, whether it's a
Yeah, it's pretty clear that he and Michael Carter II are fighting, are in a good battle for the slot corner position. As far as Lamar Jackson goes, I've never been a fan of his. I just don't think he's athletic enough to play cornerback in the NFL, and I don't think he'll be on the team. I think they drafted and they got enough new guys that are at least as talented as he is.
You said Guidry's athletic. Do you like him?
Guidry, I think he has potential, definitely. Okay, here's another guy. I know you like this guy. I'm not crazy about him. Steven Adams.
I like him, but I don't think he's going to be on the team. I think it's a numbers game. And I'll be honest with you. Let's say it came down to LaMichael Pirine and Adams. I would rather keep Pirine, to be honest.
Right. And they're going to keep him too because he's a draft pick.
Right.
Okay. Kyle Phillips.
Let me just throw. Okay, good. Kyle Phillips. I'm not sure he's going to be in the team, but I want him to.
I kind of agree with you on that. They have a lot of defensive ends out there. I don't know how that's going to shake down. I mean, that Carl Lawson is there. Vinny Curry, they just paid for. He's going to be there. They just got Ronald Blair. He's going to be there. John Franklin Myers, I think he might start. And then you got you got Zuniga and Bryce Huff. I don't think either of those guys can play linebacker. I don't think they're mobile enough to play the kind of linebacker he wants. So it's kind of a numbers game too. Now,
Ralph,
I don't know.
Let me. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. You finish.
No, I'm all set.
I just, while you're doing this, and I have it on the agenda, let's just jump to that because I wanted to ask you, Lorenzo Fadakasi, who we all like, you, me, and Ray, apparently he's having a problem with the knee. I heard it's not a serious injury.
Well, I don't know where you read. I looked all over the internet. I could not find anything on that.
All right. Well, where'd you hear that? He sat out one OTA, I know. Because of it. So maybe he just, jammed it or something or bruised it. And you had said too, we all know the Jets signed Ron Blair, who I think he's coming off a knee injury too.
Yeah, he is.
And that's on top of the Sheldon Rankins signing.
Who was also coming off an injury. Yeah, we're collecting a lot of guys who were recovering from it. Although, these are football players. So.
I really like Fadakasi, and I don't want to get rid of him, but it sounds like it's a numbers game. Do you think they're going to keep him?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, unless he has a serious injury. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Nathan Shepard would go before Fadakasi would go.
Yeah.
Fadakasi's, his Pro Football Focus, his numbers against running the last 2 years have been excellent. Very top, high. I think he's a keeper, definitely. Yeah. Okay, my last guy, Marty, is a guy. I don't know if you want to do that. We can segue into your thing about Barrios. I was thinking about Braxton Barrios. Is he going to make the team, and do you want him to make the team? Look who's here. Is Ray going to make the team? I guess Ray is.
We are right now. Ray Clifford is coming on the air. Ray,
Ray, the show's over.
No, I told the fans. I said he must be at the Ohio State spring game.
Yeah, he's dotting. I told you he's dotting the I.
I was dotting the I with another 100,000 fans.
Or I thought you maybe.
Right, so what's the trivia?
Maybe we're going to do it now. Ray, I thought maybe you went out on the field with like an Oklahoma flag. You were circling.
Well, now that I'm in Ohio, so for Baker Mayfield,
Baker. Okay, we're just going over different things about lately. Also, players that if you think they're going to make the team, if you want them to make the team. So, Ralph, go through it quickly. Let's get Ray's opinion. Ray,
give us some quick answers here, Ray.
Okay.
Blake Cashman, will he make the team, and do you want him to make the team?
No, I hope not.
That's pretty much what we said. Yeah. Okay, next, Lamar Jackson.
No, but I wish he would,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
I think he showed signs of somebody who could make a difference.
Steven Adams.
The running back.
Josh Adams?
Oh, it's Josh Adams. Is that Josh Adams?
Yeah.
Who's Steven Adams?
I was like, uh-oh, I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, Steven Adams is Jamal Adams' evil twin.
It's crowded backfield. I'd say no, but boy, I hope he does. I would like him back.
Mhm.
I don't see how they have room. I mean, I know they're going to rotate. They're big on rotation, but they have.
Well, they got four guys ahead of him. They're going to keep 5 running backs.
Let's name the running backs. They got. Go ahead, Ralph. Who's the guy they got from the 49ers? They signed
Tevin Coleman. They got Michael Carter. They got Kyle. What's his name? Not the Johnson. And Michael Pirine.
Michael Pirine. So
that's 4. Yeah.
Could you see them carrying 5 at all, or maybe trying to squeeze him on the practice squad?
Well, maybe
I don't
practice.
think he'd make the practice squad, but I would like to see him stay. But I think it's too crowded, and I think he's the odd man out at this.
Yeah.
Point.
Well, Ray, if it's between Josh Adams and Michael Pirine, who would you rather stay?
Well, I like what I've seen from Josh Adams, but I think Pirine still shows that he could be a difference maker, and contract wise and everything wise, he makes sense to keep. And he's young, so he can grow. I think you know what you got in Adams, but I like Adams because he's big and he's got some speed. He's kind of the guy, the kind of running back I like. I would love to see him, but I just don't. I think he'd be the odd man out. I don't think it'd be Pirine.
Okay.
Next one is Kyle Phillips.
They brought in guys there too. I think.
I know they got so many. There's so many guys there.
I liked him actually. I thought he was okay. I thought he showed signs too, but I think he'd be the odd man out unless he shows something in training camp and can convince him to keep him. I don't think that's the same with Adams. I think Adams will be the odd man.
By the way, one of the coaches, it might have been the defensive coordinator or Sal in one of the press conferences. One of the guys he mentioned is he sort of flashed a few times is Bryce Huff.
Good.
Yeah.
I want him to do well.
I would like him to say, yeah.
All right. Ralph, let's go right to the trivia question.
Oh, the trivia question. Okay. Simple question. In the Jets' history of first-round picks, only two of them have made the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Namath is one. You know who the other one is?
All right, we'll come back to that. Okay. Now, Ray's going to get that in, all right. But I'm going to throw Ralph gives a trivia question for you new listeners, and usually at the beginning of the show, but we're waiting for Ray. And then once in a while, not all the time, I give, I guess, what we call lightning trivia. They have to answer right away. So let me throw one in. Let's see if I can ask this correctly. 2 players were drafted by the Jets within 3 years of each other, and they both played the same position. One was a first-round pick, one was a second-round pick, and they came from the same college.
Ooh,
who are they? All right, I'll repeat that again.
Yeah, is that such an unusual thing?
I could give you a hint with the position, but I think you'll get it. So I'll repeat it.
No, don't give me the position. Just give us a general era, like the 20th century, the 21st century.
it was after the 60s.
After the 60s.
So I'll repeat it again.
Yeah.
2 players were drafted from the same college within 3 years of each other.
Right.
One was a first-round pick. One was a second-round pick. And they both played the same position.
I was going to say Sanchez and Darnold, but that was more than 3 years.
That's a good guess. Tell me when you want the position. Ray, any guesses at all?
Man, I got to think about this. Let me think about this.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lightning
question.
Yes.
All right, do the Jeopardy music.
All right, let's just go. We'll come right back to mine in a second. Wilson is Zach Wilson. And Ray, hopefully you got all my notes today from the field, what went on. We mentioned Herndon had a Wilson an interception. I went through Herndon's hands. What else is new? He's developing apparently a good on the field, off the field rapport with Braxton Barrios. He's always looking for him. And again, it came out today that Barrios has looked great. And I guess my question, Ray, I'm going to go right to you. The way he's been playing Barrios, does this affect the negotiations with Jamison Crowder, or has nothing to do with it?
I think it could. I don't know that. I think it could from the standpoint of if Crowder isn't willing to budge too much, it'll affect it. But I think if they can get Crowder at the right price, they'll stick with Crowder. It's just a matter of, it sounds like a little bit of hardball going on by the Jets as far as, what they're doing. And from the standpoint of Crowder, he's willing to stay, but he's not going to take too much of a cut, I don't think. But from what I understand, it's a significant drop in money. And honestly, if I'm Crowder, I would say, I'm not going to drop it too much. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of teams out there who.
Oh, if he gets cut, I'm telling you, so you watch how quick Tampa Bay tries to make him an offer, like 1 year.
I'd be all for it if I was another team saying, hey, this guy's available, throw some money in. And so I think Barrios only makes a difference up to a point. And then it becomes a point of is Crowder willing to drop down far enough for the Jets?
Ralph?
Yeah, I think actually Elijah Moore and Keenan Cole are more significant in the negotiation. The fact that they're really, Cole is doing great and Moore is just, he's just too good to be true that this guy,
if he pans out, he's been
looking great.
But I don't think
too good to be true that he ended up on the Jets, Ralph, right?
And I think that the Giants took Kadarius Toney, who not only I don't think is as good a player as Moore, but he's also got off the field. He's dicey with the personality, and actually, I heard that if the Giants hadn't taken Kadarius Toney, that Jacksonville was going to take him instead of Travis Etienne, who they want to turn into a receiver. There are things going on down there. I
know.
I have a bad vibe about that situation down there.
He's reinventing the game of football.
Yeah, he's smarter than everyone else in the room.
That's what happens. It happens to, it happened to, was it Spurrier?
Spurrier, probably Saban too when he went to Miami.
Lou Holtz.
Happened to Rick Pitino in basketball when he went to the. Oh God, that was a nightmare.
So anyway, we are entering the fourth quarter. So let's go back to my trivia question.
Your trivia! I really, this is one I really want to think about.
Ray, Ralph makes me feel good because he loves my trivia. When I stun him, my ego.
I would get this eventually if you gave me.
Of course you would, but that's the whole point. So here we go.
I'm Sam Darnold. I can't make quick decisions.
When I give you the position, two players were drafted within 3 years of each other from the same college. One went in the first round, one went in the second round. Who were they and what was the school? Okay,
yeah, I heard that already.
5 seconds, and then I'll give you the position.
Give us the position.
Ray, I don't know if you'll get it. Ralph's going to get it in a second as soon as I get the position. All right, here's the position. Wide receiver.
Wayne Corbett. No.
Another 5 seconds. I'm going to give you the answer.
There, Keyshawn Johnson.
No.
First round wide receiver. Hartley Dykes was a second round.
I'll give you the college. Jackson State.
Oh yeah. Jerome Barkham and did Castor go?
Yes.
They both went to Jackson State. That's right. Yeah.
Rich Castor was a second round pick.
Actually, should have said tight end, and I might have got.
Well, no, he was drafted as a wide receiver. Rich Castor was drafted in the second round in 1970 from Jackson State. 2 years later, they drafted Jerome Barkham in the first round from Jackson State. I think that's pretty interesting. All right, Ralph, let's go. Let's get to your trivia question. before we close this out?
Yeah, the trivia question is, there were 2 first-round picks in the Jets' history who were in the Hall of Fame, Namath being one of them. And who was the other one, Ray?
I know it.
Yeah. What'd you say, Marty?
John Riggins.
That's right.
I
Of course, we didn't reap most of the benefits of John Riggins.
no, that was gonna, if I wasn't sure, that was gonna be my question.
Yeah, no, that's he's the Jet, one of the all-time great Jets that wasn't a Jet long enough. You know, what a player that.
There, we had a few. I mean, he gave up on Verlin Biggs and
Verlin
Hugh
Biggs.
Douglas and
Who was the other? Berlin Biggs, I remember.
Hugh Douglas.
Oh yeah.
That one.
That was Parcells.
I know. I really, to this day, I wish I knew why he just didn't like him.
Too small by his
Ray,
stand.
just so you know, you were running a little late coming from the Ohio State football field, but the essence of the first third of the show, we were talking about how good Zach Wilson looks, even though, like we said last week, it's in shorts and whatever, but there are certain things he's doing. And Ralph, mention what Robbie Sabo said. I don't know if you know who Robbie Sabo is, Ray. He's got a podcast and everything. And
Yeah, he has.
Chris Sabo.
No, it's not Chris, but but this guy has access to the practices. And he basically,
he part of the Sabo family from NFL Films.
that would be Sable.
Sabo.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, go ahead.
He's basically said everything about Zach Wilson compared to Darnold is much quicker. His release, his footwork, and his decision making. He just doesn't overthink. You know, to me, that's what it's all about. Like Marty said, of all those things, it's the decision making, and it sounds good to me. You know,
It's big stuff, Ray. And what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I definitely agree on the release part. You know, that was obvious from the beginning. The decision-making thing, you know, I like to hear that, but I think, you know, that'll become more evident as we go along in training camp.
definitely.
11 on 11s and into the season when it's team,
Right.
you know, bringing defenses in specifically, specifically to stop them. So, but I like all that a lot because that's all the stuff I like to hear about when it comes to a quarterback.
By the way, quickly, when I was listening to the press conference of Jeff Ulbrich,
Yes.
someone asked a very interesting question. He said, when you're running defenses in these 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s, are you thinking in terms of doing stuff to test Zach Wilson, or are you just running your defenses? And he said that Mike LaFleur is in my ear all the time telling me such stuff to do to test him, which is very interesting, actually.
That's great too.
Yeah.
It is. And Ray, the other thing I want to mention, and Ralph mentioned, which I think is very important, you know, because Ralph and I, we don't have a life like you. You have a good life. We have no life at all. So we just scour the internet, getting reports on the Jets, you know, how many times Fadakasi went to the bathroom, who did this, who did that.
It was 3 today, by the way.
And Ralph came up. Ralph, why don't you mention the one name on defense that keeps coming up?
Yeah.
Secondary. You'll love this, Ray.
Isaiah Dunn. Every practice, these guys, reporters are saying he's made some really nice plays. They said that he's, you know, he and Pinnock are, he says they feel like he's outplaying Pinnock.
I'm
you
a little
know,
excited for Pinnock though. I
like Pinnock too. Which is, those are a couple of reasons why I think Lamar Jackson's not going to make the team.
Yeah.
But then the thing I said to Marty is, this guy Isaiah Dunn, how is he not drafted? Cornerbacks are so precious in this league. How does someone not take a flyer on a guy who has that reputation and can obviously play? It's really bizarre.
Yeah, it tells you how the draft is such a crapshoot that, you know, well, it was, for me, it was the lineman there out of Tennessee, Trey
Smith. Yeah.
Everything I read said he's like a second, third rounder. Here it is, the 6th round. And I'm like,
I understand teams were cautious about the blood clots, but at a certain point, you got to go for it. You know?
I agree. I kept saying, how does Sean Wade end up going the 5th round? How is that possible? You know?
Well, at least he went in the 5th round. He was terrible last year.
I understand that, but just if you read about his ability, it's just it's uncanny. It's just, It's bizarre that
I would have thought somebody take a flyer on him sooner.
Yeah.
know.
All right, we're going to close this out. And listen, I want to thank all these Jet fans that have been giving us support on our YouTube channel. Keep sharing it. It's our views are going up weekly. We love it. We want to keep this format. We want to stay advertising free if we could. So for Ray Clifford from Ralph Schrager and Marty Shupak,
I got it. Castor and Barkham.
until next time, this has been Jets Rewind.